This morning we are very honored to welcome to the Crystal Cathedral the Rear Admiral Barry C. Black, retired, and current chaplain of the United States Senate. Prior to coming to Capitol Hill, Chaplain Black served in the United States Navy for over 27 years. He ended his distinguished career as the Chief of Navy Chaplains. As Rear Admiral, his personal decorations include the Navy Distinguished Service Medal, the Legion of Merit Medal, 2 Defense Meritorious Service Medals, 2 Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medals, and numerous unit awards, campaign, and service medals. Chaplain Barry C. Black and his wife Brenda are the proud parents of their 3 sons, Barry II, Brendan, and Bradford. Please join me in welcoming to the Crystal Cathedral Rear Admiral Barry C. Black.
Oh, God bless you, my brother.
Barry, God loves you, and I do too.
Thank you so much.
You know, people look at where you are today, the chaplain to the Senate of the United States of America. and they could assume that you had a very comfortable life and that you got there because God was good to you and your parents. And is that the way it was?
Well, I grew up in a public housing project in Baltimore, Maryland. We had uninvited guests, rats and roaches. My mother loved the Lord. She was a domestic, and one day she brought home a big 78 record that the woman for whom she worked had given her, and it was a sermon. And I listened to it over and over again until I memorized this sermon with a man with a strange accent. I did not know then it was Peter Marshall, the 56th chaplain of the United States Senate. Now, we've had chaplains in the Senate since 1789. God set in motion a sequence of events that let that little 8-year-old go from the hood to the hill. So what a mighty God we serve.
Amen. You actually have a book coming out with that exact title
That's right.
sometime this fall, is that correct?
Well, you have to use your pain. I certainly do. And it's a story that celebrates the truth of Ephesians 3:20, which says God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think, according to his power working in and through us. I could have never imagined that I would, with my background, grow up to become the chief of chaplains for the United States Navy, a 2-star admiral, and then, before I could retire, be appointed the 62nd chaplain of the United States Senate. It is proof that our God indeed has a sense of humor.
What message of faith do you want people to hear from your testimony today?
My mother gave us our allowance based upon the scripture that we could memorize. She put me on a flat rate eventually, but there's been a Bible verse that is sort of a passage that has been a kind of North Star for my life. And when I have commencement programs, I usually will talk from this passage, Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not upon your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. I've discovered that God's plan for our lives is much bigger than anything we can imagine. He said in Jeremiah 29:11, I got a nickel for that verse, by the way. He said, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and to give you good success. So if you will trust him Even when you can't trace him, trust him, even in the storm. The best is yet to be.
Wow. Barry? We love you. We appreciate you. We thank you for your testimony. Now, would you please read the scripture for us?
It'll be my pleasure. Hear these beautiful words from the book of Psalms. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own. The Lord looks from heaven, from the place of his dwelling. He looks on all the inhabitants of the earth. He fashions their hearts individually. He considers all their work. No king is saved by the multitude of an army. A mighty man is not delivered by his great strength. Our soul waits for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. For our heart shall rejoice in him, because we have trusted in his holy name. Let your mercy, O Lord, be upon us, just as we hope in you. May God add his blessing to the reading of his holy word.